So welcome back to the next part of our lightsaber build. Now today we're going to go ahead and get this chassis that I've cut and put back together, and we're going to insert it into part of the empty hilt. And after that we're going to start talking about the software side, where you need to go to get some of the information, how to be able to put together everything to make this lightsaber work. So let's go ahead and get started first off by getting this thing put back together. So we'll move over here. As you can see, I've got everything put back together in the chassis itself. I've got the switch and everything. We've got, oops, I know it's hard to see, but there's the pogo pin set here on the end, all in place. The power board is wired up inside there as well. We got our switch. Got the Proffieboard in here with everything wired up, and you'll see here, this is what I was talking about when I was referring to how much space I had to work with the Bluetooth chips. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So comparing the board that I've got in here, which was the 630, compared to the size of the board being the 909, you can see I didn't have a whole lot of space to work with. So if I had this sitting here, just putting it on top of what's already there, there wasn't a lot of space for wiring to be able to work with setting up the wires. I actually did have it wired up at one point and was going to try that, but it just had, there was so much in that area and just not enough to work with really space-wise. I decided to go ahead and go with a smaller one. But if you remember also, I told you this particular board, whenever I went researching on it, it showed that it had to be programmed. So some way, I guess you'd have to solder wires onto the connections on there and then be able to tie it in. And the bad part is I couldn't find anywhere online that talked about how to set these up as far as what to connect where on the computer or anything. I saw on there on the actual description page where I showed you the details in the last video of the specs on the actual Bluetooth boards, but what I noticed was it had on there said to visit this forum on there, but it didn't have a link anywhere or tell you what forum to go and look at. I scoured trying to figure it out. I couldn't figure out where to go, so I just gave up on that particular board. If you happen to have used this board, hit me up with a comment down in the comment section below and let me know where it was that you found the information on how to connect this one to the computer, how to set it up, anything like that, because I would love to try to use that in a future lightsaber build, you know, at some point. But at this point, I couldn't do it. So we've got this one here with the smaller Bluetooth. Like I said, this one here has worked perfectly fine for me so far. I haven't had any issues with connectivity, losing connection, or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to insert this one into our empty chassis here. So we're going to get that lined up on there, and then on the back side we've got our set screws. So I'm going to go ahead and get the set screws in place. Alright, so I've just got this one just kind of sitting there at the moment because this screw here is actually what pushes our switch into place and secures it. Inside the chassis there was a hole in the back side. Let me slide it back out here, I can show you. It's got this hole right here, and that screw actually slides up through that hole. Once you get it in place, positioned in the right spot, this screw will go into that hole, and actually the plastic carrier or carriage little piece that board sits in, this pushes on the back side and actually pushes the switch and everything up into place. So I'm gonna get this in there until I feel it click, so I know that the switch is in the right spot and it will not move now. It's sitting in the right area. And then we're going to lock this chassis down with this other set screw. Snug it down. So now it's got it basically in place. I don't know if you won't be able to tell without me moving it, but you got the PCB that's down inside to be able to get to the blade will slide into. And then you've got everything set up. So now that we've got that all in place, let's go ahead and talk about a few things. One of the things you're going to have to make sure that you've got a good quality micro USB cable. You need one that charges, and you need one that has data transfer. The biggest way to know is when you plug it in, you'll hear the sound that you get whenever you plug in a USB device. And I'll go ahead and plug mine in so that you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So as soon as you plug in, you'll hear that sound. You'll know at that point that your lightsaber is being recognized. Okay, as you can see, I've got the data cable plugged in, so it will recognize. You can hear me disconnect it. Now, if you try to connect the lightsaber with a non-data transfer cable, basically, it's not going to give you that sound. So you'll never be able to do your transfers, you'll never be able to get anything work, and you actually can damage the lightsaber from what I understand. So I made sure and got myself a good data transfer cable. Look on Amazon, I'm sure there's a bunch of them out there, but it will need to say data transfer so that way you can get it to work properly. So with that, we're going to go ahead and go back and look at the we're going to go ahead and look at the configuration page that we were looking at last time, so we can continue talking about what's on there. So here we are again at the configuration page. We've got, should have just a single button on there. Nope, not latching. There we go. So we've got our configuration set up on here, as you can see. Charging port, switch, LED strip that's your blade, basically, your speaker, and your Bluetooth. Once you've done that, the nice thing about this is it's going to give you, if you scroll down, your basic configuration file. So this is going to be a configuration that you'll be able to do and use on your lightsaber for your initial operating system setup. So we scroll down here, you've got copy to clipboard. You can just copy that there, and that's going to paste in your config file. We're going to show you that where that goes here in just a few minutes. But once you've done that, then you've got all the information on here as far as troubleshooting and things like that for the resistors. Now we're going to scroll all the way back up here to the top, and you're going to go to this area here that says software. So you're going to click on software, and it's going to take you to the next setup. This is where you're going to start getting into your software side. So currently we're doing version 6.7 of the OS for Proffie. So you're just going to download this. You got to make sure you know what you've got on there. So we'll start at the beginning, what you're going to have. Of course, you've got your Proffieboard, or as it used to be listed, your 10Z Saber or 10Z Saber 1, 2, or 3. You're going to need to get Arduino IDE. So if you don't have that, download Arduino, because that's the file or the program you're actually going to use to program your lightsaber. You're going to have to get the Proffieboard Arduino plugin. So you're going to need to download your Arduino plugin. And then you're going to do this Tensiduno if you have a Tensi, which I didn't need to use that because I'm not using it on the Tensi Saber side. You got your, of course, like I said, micro USB cable, your SD card, which if you ordered the Proffieboard, depending on where you got it from, and I got mine from CC Sabers, mine came with a video or an SD card. And then you've got where you can get some fonts and some tracks. So when you go here to the sound fonts link, you're going to go to this download section right here, and this is going to be the ProffieOS default SD card files. You're going to want to download that because that's going to be the default files you're going to put on your lightsaber to start out with, so that you can make sure that it's going to operate. Because everything we're going to do right now is going to be based off of what this SD card file package is going to involve with. Then you have your different voice packs for your ProffieOS if you wanted to use a different voice pack. So you can click on the speaker, it'll give you a sound. You can click here on the little blue box here that'll actually give you the download for it. So if you click
main menu,
you'll get different options as far as sound goes.
Main menu,
Main menu.
main menu, main menu.
Main menu.
So those are the different sound fonts, voice packs that you can use. I downloaded the second one. That was the one I decided to go with, so that's the one I used. So we'll go back here after you've downloaded your sound fonts. Like I said, you can get your tracks or voice packs, which is the section down here at the bottom. Once you've got that, you'll go back, you'll finish your download of the 6.7, and at that point then we are pretty much just about ready to go. So now we get into the actual functions, the actual programming of your lightsaber. So you scroll down a little bit further on here, you're going to get to the preparation for Proffieboard section. So like I said, you're going to install the latest Arduino software. So you go to your Arduino software download, you click it here, you're going to see this page here, and then you're just going to download the appropriate format that you're going to use depending on what version of Windows or Linux or Mac or whatever you're using. So you're going to download that. This is going to be the latest version that you're going to have of the Arduino software. You're going to install the Arduino software. After that, you're going to go back and you're going to grab your Proffieboard Arduino plugins. When you click that, you're going to see here where you have all the information for the Arduino Proffieboard on this GitHub that's here, and you're just going to click download and install the Arduino IDE. And so once you go in and you've downloaded and installed Arduino, this particular line right here that you have, you're going to replace what's originally there. And what you're going to do to replace that is back over here on this site where you actually downloaded the Arduino, or to get the Arduino plugin, but you can download Arduino right from it, as we said. You're going to go in and add this line right here. Okay, so it's going to be all the way to the index.json right there. So you're going to highlight this entire section, you're going to drop that into this line right here. Okay, so you're gonna put it in there, and then you click OK. Once you've done that, you're gonna go into your board manager, which you click on Tools, go down to Board. Mine already says it there, but you're gonna go under Board Manager. Okay, and you're gonna click there. Then you're gonna see this. Okay, this is where all the information you're gonna have. And then on here, you can just type in, under the search, you can just type in Proffie. And it should bring up that information. And then you're just going to install that. Once you've installed that information, onto the system, then you've got your plugin for your Proffieboard. And it's all set up and ready to go in Arduino as far as that part goes. You're going to go back in under Tools, under Board, and then you're going to go under Arduino. Let's see, where's it at? Oh, right here. It should say Proffieboard in your list. Okay, and once you go to Proffieboard, you'll go down, and depending on what you got, if you got a version 1, version 2, or version 3, you're going to click for Proffieboard. Like for mine, it's V2, which is what's already highlighted. Now, once you go back, you're gonna, if you've already downloaded the software, you've downloaded the ProffieOS itself. As you can see here, I have my ProffieOS. I got my Proffie SD card set up. Got some of the other information that I've got on here. So you're gonna download and you're gonna have them in zip files. You're gonna open those zip files. I always keep my zip files just in case I screw something up, so I can unzip it second time and fix whatever I screwed up. So in your ProffieOS, you're gonna open that up. And then down here, you want to actually click the ProffieOS link, or the actual execute file. That way it will open up Arduino with the ProffieOS already preloaded. So everything is preloaded with the default information that you're going to have. So once you've done that, you've got Arduino, for the most part, set up for what you need. Now you need to go into your config. Now before you get into your config, you're going to need to go in and take your memory card and install your memory card into your computer. Now I have a little adapter here that I can put my memory card into. If you don't have one, you can pick these up for pretty cheap. Any of them that will take a micro SD card is all you need, so that way you can plug it into your computer and be able to operate your memory card. I'll show you what I'm talking about, and so we can go ahead and walk through this step properly. You know, just insert it into there, and of course we're going to get the sound. And once you've done that, you're going to want to format that particular card. You just go in and do a quick format. Make sure you format it FAT32 so that way it's fully the right format. Once you're done, you're good there. Open it up and you've got your memory card. So now with these two split screen on it here for you, you're going to go in, open up your memory card folder, and you're just going to copy everything that's here and drop it over into the memory card. That's going to give you your basic memory card setup. Okay, so this is going to give you a few fonts. It's going to have a few tracks on there that you can operate with and use to be able to test out your lightsaber to make sure everything is working. So once you've got your memory card all done, okay, you can go ahead and eject it and you're good there. Now once you've done that, now we're going to set up your first config file. So in the config folder in your ProffieOS, okay, we're back into the ProffieOS folder that was right here. Right here. You're going to open the ProffieOS folder. You're going to go into the config folder. Now, there's a whole listing here of different config files. Okay, you can see that there's stuff from Proffie 1, 2, Proffie 3, all sorts of different configs in there. I've got a config original and then the config that I'm currently using. So we'll go ahead and open up the config original so that you can see. And here's the config original file, okay, for mine. So this is where you're going to go, and you're going to, if you go back to the page where you were getting your configuration set up, and you remember we had this config file right here that it started out with your basic layout for your config. You're going to just copy to clipboard, so that way you have all this information saved to your clipboard. You can utilize any of the config files that are in here. You know, just pick one, rename it. That way, you know, you've got it on there. So if you decide you want to go in and just grab the original, you know, Proffieboard config, you know, this is just a basic config. Go in and rename this. Okay, I named mine my config. Now, if you're planning on building more lightsabers in the future, you may want to name this specific. So in the future, I may go and change the name of this when I go to do my second build, so that way I make sure that my second build has the config file that I want on that one, different from the one that I'm currently using. But essentially all you're going to do is once you've renamed it, you're going to go in, highlight, you're going to go ahead and paste over all of that you grabbed from the other page where you had your configuration for your Proffieboard, and you're going to add that on here, and that's going to give you your basic layout. Once you've done that, you save that. That's going to be your config file, okay? And that's going to be, and I'm not going to save this, that's going to be, like I said, in your Proffieboard OS folder, the whatever OS version you're using at that time. Then when you go into Arduino, let me go ahead and grab Arduino up here for us. In Arduino, you're going to have a different config file listed right here on the define config file, and you're going to want to change this location on there. It's going to be config / and then whatever you named your config file. So if you named it like I did, my config, you're going to change the my config. You're going to leave the .h. So all you're going to actually change is that section right there. You're going to make that section whatever you named your config file. This will make Arduino find the config file that you're using for your lightsaber build. Once you've done that and you've got your config file on there, right here I also changed it to the same thing. So I just copied this entire line, paste it here. So copy all of this, paste it all right there, so that way you have it all set up, because as you can see it says error, please set config file as shown above. So you've got your config file there. That at that point you're just about done. Okay, you hit the verify, which is a little checkbox, and what you're going to notice is down here it's going to start going through and checking. Okay, I'm going to bring this screen up so that way you guys can see a little bit better what it shows, because I know my window is in the way here. But it's going to go through and it's going to check and make sure that your config file is good. It's going to make sure that everything's there, that there's no errors, then there's no problems that you need to go and fix before you hook up your lightsaber and get ready to upload everything to your lightsaber. So as you can see here, this is how it should come up and look. It's going to have these different lines of code letting you know that it's starting and changing sections on there, but it should come up and show you at the end the percentage of bytes based on the storage that the Proffieboard has, and then the maximum that's there. Once you've gone in and you've made sure that your config file is good on it, now we have to go in and get ready to install or connect our Proffieboard. So when you go to first connect your lightsaber, it may or may not show up in your device manager. If it doesn't show up in your device manager, you're going to need this Zadig. Basically, that is a generic USB driver program to be able to help get your USB drivers set up to where it will recognize your Proffieboard. And to do that, you can Google search the Zadig USB driver installation. You can see up here in my hotbar or address bar where exactly that link is at. I'll put the link down below so you can go ahead and download that and grab the Zadig application that you're going to need. When you go and launch Zadig, you're going to see on here to install Windows driver. You're going to want to make sure it's WinUSB 6.1.7600.16835. Okay, and then you're just going to click to install Zadig on there, so that way it will recognize your lightsaber. Now I've got the drivers on there already. It recognizes mine perfectly fine, so I don't have to worry about it. But you'll need to put that on there possibly And that's also so that you can use the WinUSB right here if you want to try to do the install through the other page where you did your configuration files on there. But I haven't done that, so I'm not sure how well that works. I've just been using Arduino. Once you've done that and you get Arduino working, you should be able to go up to Tools. You should be able to go down your Proffieboard, and you should be able to see your Proffieboard here and select the one. But you're going to notice that it won't show anything for your port. So go ahead and plug in our board. And you get your sound that it's connected. Okay, once you do that, you should see under Programmer the STM32 bootloader. Now, if you do not see the STM32 bootloader, you're going to need to hit the master reset and boot buttons on your Proffieboard to be able to get that set up. Those particular buttons are going to be these two little buttons right here. So you're going to press these two buttons together, and when you do that, you're going to hear a sound. Now what you'll notice is when you go into your device manager, you may or may not see the bootloader listed here. If you don't, you hit that reset, the power or the reset and reboot buttons on there. Let me go ahead and do that real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. You're going to do the little reboot on there, and now you'll have the STM32 bootloader. So that way you'll know that you're connected to your lightsaber. So you're on your Proffieboard program. Down here under your programmer, you have the STM32 bootloader listed now. Okay, and you've got everything is config set up. All the stuff is right. You're going to hit this upload. Okay, and once you hit upload, it'll start going through the check a second time to make sure nothing has changed since you first started getting everything set up, and it's going to read that config file, and it's going to start doing your software upload. As you see here, we're waiting on the green bar to finish on the compile. It usually takes 30-45 seconds for it to go through and do the complete config check, and then you're going to see it did everything the same, and now it's connecting to my lightsaber. You'll know it's connected because it'll start the download on here, and it's got these little dashes that come up and shows you the percentage that it's doing on the internal flash. So you sit there and watch your percent go up, and once it's done, you'll actually get a sound from your lightsaber. And I'm going to lift this up so that way you guys can hear. Alright, so we're almost done. You're going to hear the sound pop up here in just a second. And then you have that. That sound lets you know it has finished, it has completed. The computer shows the sound like it's disconnected from the USB, just like if you unplugged a thumb drive or something. But you get that static sound that comes from the lightsaber itself. Once you get that, you're done. You'll see here the files download was successful. It transitioned, everything is good. So your lightsaber at this point is set up software wise. So now it's just a matter of putting the blade in and testing out your first font. So we'll go ahead and disconnect. Got it unhooked. Let's put in our blade. Alright, so we've got our blade installed. Put our battery in. Same sound that we got basically when it disconnected from the computer. And if you've done everything properly, everything's good, your battery is charged, your memory card's in, you've uploaded everything, you're ready to turn it on. You've now successfully set up and built your first custom lightsaber. The next video we'll go into the features of how to operate your lightsaber. We'll start talking about the Bluetooth and how you go in and set up the Bluetooth and operate your lightsaber with your phone. So, thanks for joining me tonight. I do appreciate it. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell down here in the corner so that way you know when the next video in this series comes available. Share it with your friends. Share the channel with your friends. Anybody who's interested in building a lightsaber, I'm hoping that I'm providing information to you guys that's going to be helpful. If you have any questions, drop me a comment down in the comment section below. I'll let you know what I know at this point, and if I don't have an answer, I'll see if I can find it for you. But thanks again for joining me. Don't forget also like and subscribe to our socials down here. That way you'll get the notification of when these videos do go live. So thanks again for joining me. I do appreciate each and every single one of you guys. And as always, may the Force be with you. Good luck on your builds.